Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to tackle a massive, honestly, incredibly frustrating hurdle that almost every single aspiring developer faces. You know the drill, right? You've learned the syntax, you've watched the courses, and you can follow along with a video guide perfectly. But the second you try to open up a blank editor and ship a real project, your mind just completely blanks. It's like you've never coded a day in your life. Well, today we're unpacking exactly why beginners fail to ship code, and we're mapping out the exact journey from feeling totally paralyzed to writing confident, professional-grade code. Smart developers ship bad code too. Honestly, I want to shatter an illusion for you right now. That massive code base you're hoping to inherit one day at your absolute dream job, it is messy. It's full of decisions made at 3 a.m. by someone running on pure caffeine and a terrifying deadline. The gap between a junior who is totally paralyzed and can't ship and a senior who ships daily, well, it's not a matter of raw intellect. It's entirely about mindset, approach, and how you view the inevitable imperfections in your own work. Here's our agenda for the Explainer. We'll be covering how to escape tutorial hell, the project-based learning cure, maintaining keyboard fluency with AI, building and measuring, and finally, why senior code is boring. Let's get right into it. Section 1, Escaping Tutorial Hell. The cognitive science behind this early struggle is actually fascinating. Research points to something called the fluency illusion. This is basically a completely false sense of competence created by passive learning. Think about it. When you sit there watching a tutorial, you recognize the syntax happening on screen. So your brain goes, "Oh, got it. That makes total sense." But recognizing something is not the same as recalling it from scratch. This illusion inevitably leads to severe imposter syndrome because the literal second you try to recall the information without the video playing, you realize the knowledge was never really yours to begin with. And that illusion creates what the sources define as tutorial hell. It's basically a fatal affliction for modern programmers. Think of it as a plague for independent learners. It results in this total, crippling reliance on a tutor to walk you through every single step needed to solve a problem or build an application. It heavily traps solo developers who don't have a boot camp or a structured support network to help them cross that bridge to truly independent coding. Now, a lot of people think the solution is to just go cold turkey, abandon tutorials completely from day one. But the data shows that leap is just way too big. Instead, you need a strategic, step-by-step cure. Step 1. Comments. Literally riddle your tutorial code with comments, as if you're trying to teach it to someone else, because if you can explain it, you actually understand it. Step 2. Micro adjustments. Take that finished tutorial and change 30% of it. Swap the colors, add some new buttons, change out the database. Step 3. Gut it to a core skeleton. Save that modified code, strip it all the way down to its bones, and then remold it into a completely unique application. Section 2. The project-based learning cure. When you look at the academic research backing this up, the results are undeniable. A study from the Kent Academic Repository notes that project work situates a problem within a real context. It forces you to deal with those wild, unpredictable, highly frustrating scenarios where you have to apply what you've learned, rely on your raw problem-solving skills, and figure out what users actually need. Out of all the different modes of learning, it's this active, project-based work that most closely models actual professional practice out there in the industry. So, what should you actually be building? Well, if you're a beginner, things like a portfolio, a landing page, or complex interactive forms are perfect starting points. Once you feel comfortable there, intermediate projects like a small e-commerce shop, a custom CMS, or API integrations are going to coordinate multiple data sources and really push your skills. But please pay attention to this warning found all across developer retrospectives. Do not bite off more than you can chew. Always build the minimum viable project first. Define the absolute smallest version of your idea, build that completely, and only then add features incrementally. Section 3, AI and keyboard fluency. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. AI coding assistants in 2026 have completely changed how we work, right? They're generating entire functions before you've even finished typing a sentence. But the research highlights a massive hidden danger here. Relying too much on AI threatens the actual physical connection between your thoughts and the editor. Your hands literally get passive. To combat this, you need a strict routine. Number 1, treat AI output as a rough draft. Read it, delete what you don't need, and actually retype the important parts. 2, keep small edits, like renaming variables or fixing a selector, completely manual to keep that muscle memory sharp. 3, Practice prompting separately from your typing practice. And 4, take one small AI-generated snippet and rewrite it manually from memory every single day. The assistant accelerates your idea, but your fingers absolutely must keep the implementation under your control.
Section 4. Building and measuring in public.
You really need to step out of the shadows. Post what you're learning, summarize the books you read, and document your project building process. Doing this builds a personal brand and organically attracts opportunities to you. But here is a critical word of caution from the data. Studying totally alone keeps you in an isolated learning bubble. You might score an 8 out of 10 on something and feel fantastic about it, right up until you realize the broader community average is actually a 9.4. Taking timed 4-option multiple-choice tests with really well-designed distractor answers completely destroys the fluency illusion. It heavily stresses your mental models and reveals where you truly stand among your peers.
Section 5. Why senior code is boring.
The tech industry loves to use the phrase move fast. But for a junior developer, move fast is often just an excuse for not thinking. They accumulate technical debt entirely by accident simply because they didn't read the existing codebase carefully. A senior developer is entirely different. They take out technical debt deliberately. They look at the deadline, they look at the risk, and they make a calculated trade-off. It's a strategic business decision made with full awareness of the interest rate they're going to have to pay back later. Something most people learn about Git way too late is that it's not just a history book for your code. It's a critical safety net. Senior engineers ship with confidence, not because they're writing flawless, magical code every time, but because they trust this net. They know how to isolate, roll back, and recover. They treat their deployments as controlled experiments. Your ability to recover when you are wrong is a much, much higher skill than trying to achieve absolute certainty before you ever press deploy. A junior developer usually optimizes for the next hour. They just want to close the Jira ticket, so they're asking, where do I add my code? A senior developer optimizes for the next on-call rotation. They're asking, what breaks if I touch this? The sources detail a pretty terrifying story to back this up. Picture a developer who writes a clean 6-line fix without reading the surrounding context. They ship it. Well, for 11 straight days, that clean little fix silently corrupts data for a downstream team, causing an absolute nightmare of a cleanup. That is exactly why your time horizon has to change. Which leads us directly to this really profound truth. Boring code is senior code. We have to dispel the myth of the clever, elegant one-liner. Clever code shows you know the language, sure, but it doesn't show that you understand your team. Senior devs write deliberately boring, highly readable code because they have been paged at midnight to debug someone else's cleverness. Readable code is evidence that a developer has actually thought past the exact moment of writing it. Ultimately, good code solves a real problem. It ships on time. It holds up under load. It can be easily understood by the next person who looks at it. And it is recoverable when it eventually fails. Almost none of that is about being clever. Remember this. Perfectly refactored code sitting untouched in a branch teaches you absolutely nothing. A done and deployed project with actual failure modes will beat pending and pristine code every single time. So I'll leave you with this. Would you want to inherit your own code? It's a provocative thought, isn't it? As you transition from those passive tutorials into active projects, and as you navigate this fast-paced world of AI assistance, keep that question in the back of your mind. If the answer is no, well, it might be time to rethink how you write, measure, and ship your work. Thanks for exploring these sources with me today on The Explainer, and keep building.